Hello and welcome to Catholic News Roundup. I'm Christine Niles. Here are this week's top stories. Christians are being crucified, literally, in Syria. According to journalist Peter Sweden, I just saw a video where jihadists in Syria crucify and kill a Christian man. I'm not going to share the video here. This is 1,000 times worse than what the media is telling you. Estimates range from 1,000 up to 7,000 Christians, Alawites, and Druze butchered by the ruling Islamist party, a party that had been backed by Biden and the EU. Approximately 7,000 Syrians have taken refuge at a Russian airbase in Khmeimim. The Carmelite nuns in Aleppo have published a statement saying, quote, "This is a crime against humanity, a true genocide. Who will stand up for these poor people who have no money, no power, and no means to defend themselves? We beg you, pray, and do whatever is in your power to help stop this inhuman slaughter." The Armenian Patriarchate of Jerusalem issued a letter March 11th. "We call upon the international community, governments, religious organizations, humanitarian bodies, and individuals to urgently focus attention on the protection and preservation of all Christians in Syria." And in San Francisco, California, a transgender pulled a gun on a street preacher after he said a man can't become a woman.
But you need to try less being like somebody you're not and start to humble yourself and be somebody that God made you to be. He didn't make a man to be a woman. He made the man to be a man. He didn't make the woman to be a man. He made the woman to be a woman. And this is the truth. What are you going to do? Come attack me now? I should. Hey, man, that's up to you. If you want to pull that on me, well, God bless you. So you just threatened me with a gun. You just pulled a gun on my face. Man, Lord have mercy on you. This means that you don't even know who you are. Nope, I still love you. Even though you pulled a gun on me, I still love you. I still bless you.
Transgender violence has been trending, with transgenders linked to multiple school shootings, as well as a terror cult called the Zizians.
The Zizians are tied, as you mentioned, to at least 6 murders spanning the country in 3 states, from California to Pennsylvania and Vermont, including the deaths of a landlord in California in 2022, an elderly couple in Pennsylvania, and, of course, Border Patrol agent Mayland in Vermont last month. Just 20 miles he was killed from the Canadian border. But little is known about the group or its motives, Harris. Independent journalist Andy Ngo has been tracking them for a while.
I would describe some of the crimes that they're accused of as being demonic, you could say. An elderly couple that were killed in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, were shot execution style in their homes on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago. FBI dropped the ball on this because the killings go back to 2022.
In church news, a protest against the installation of Washington, D.C.'s new Cardinal Archbishop. As Cardinal Robert McElroy was being installed as the new head of the D.C. Archdiocese in the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, rallygoers protested outside. Organized by Dr. Janet Smith and abuse victim Rachel Mastrogiacomo, the protest also called for a federal investigation into the U.S. Bishops' Conference for allegedly facilitating human trafficking through its Office of Migration, which has received billions of dollars in federal grants.
You're writing to the Vice President of the United States, who's a Catholic convert, to ask him to get the Justice Department to do an investigation of the U.S. Catholic bishops on a racketeering charge, ma'am?
Yes, sir. And I'm not the first one. There's actually been quite a long line of people who've asked for the same thing, because they absolutely have no transparency on, they subcontract a lot of this work to other organizations. In fact, it's been shown by many studies that these organizations don't comply with, are not coherent with Catholic teaching on morality.
We know that Cardinal McElroy helped to cover up the rape of a young woman named Rachel Mastrogiacomo, who was here with us today. She was ritually, satanically abused, and Cardinal McElroy had a hand in covering up her abuse. And you also have the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops intimately involved with USAID and the whole border situation, taking in hundreds of millions of dollars to help illegal aliens come in across the border. So when you start looking into the whole problem, you realize there's got to be something to investigate, someone to investigate these problems and possibly look into RICO.
We re-aired a special report last year showing how McElroy shielded a priest who would eventually plead guilty to raping a young woman, and how McElroy stonewalled the criminal investigation, refusing to hand over diocesan files. You can find that report on our YouTube channel under Investigations, titled Special Report, The Devil in Rome. Ukraine and Russia may be moving closer to a ceasefire. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Russia's Vladimir Putin Thursday, who said he's open to a ceasefire, but the terms first have to be hashed out. President Trump tweeted Friday, "We had very good and productive discussions with President Vladimir Putin of Russia yesterday, and there is a very good chance that this horrible, bloody war can finally come to an end." He went on to plead for the lives of Ukrainian soldiers who had invaded the Russian territory of Kursk. Putin responded.
And we understand President Trump's appeal to be guided by humanitarian considerations with regard to these military personnel. I'd like to underscore that if they surrender and if they put down their arms, they will be guaranteed a due treatment in accordance with international law and the laws of the Russian Federation.
This comes after Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky agreed to a ceasefire, only to send its largest drone attack on residential buildings in Moscow, killing multiple civilians. During U.S. talks with Russia, Zelensky posted a video blasting Putin.
Тим більше, що зараз ми всі почули з Росії дуже передбачувані, дуже маніпулятивні слова Путіна у відповідь на ідею тиші на фронті. Він фактично готує відмову станом на зараз. Путін, звісно, боїться сказати прямо президенту Трампу, що хоче продовжувати цю війну. Хоче вбивати українців.
Critics accused him of trying to sabotage peace talks. And in significant news, NATO head Mark Rutte is confirming Ukraine will never be a member.
He's already taken off Ukraine joining NATO off the table. Mm-hmm. So Ukraine is left asking this question, how are we going to know we're going to have proper security?
Yeah, but he was also very clear, Pete Hegseth in Brussels, but also the president himself, that when there is a deal on Ukraine, it has to be lasting. It has to be durable.
He's expressing hopes for a new economic alliance with Russia once the fighting ends.
Would you be willing to do business again with Russia after this? Because we are hearing reports of things like maybe gas deals come back into play.
Well, I mean, I'm not there because, first of all, you have to maintain the pressure on the Russians to make sure that they do whatever is necessary. That's why we have the sanctions, and let's not be naive about the Russians. But longer term, Russia is there. I mean, Russia will not go away. And I've had many dealings with President Putin till 2014. In my first 4 years as Prime Minister, we had many negotiations. And I think it is normal if the war would have stopped for Europe to somehow, step by step, and also for the US, step by step, to restore normal relations with the Russians. But we are absolutely not there yet. We have to maintain the pressure on them to make sure that they are willing to engage seriously in talks with the American administration and, of course, also with the Ukrainians.
And turning to Nigeria, a Catholic is being implicated in the abduction of 2 priests. Fathers Abraham Saman and Matthew David Dusami were freed March 8th after more than 2 weeks of being held hostage by kidnappers. The prime suspect was arrested, Tahamado Jonathan Demian, a Catholic and a member of the same church. The arrest has caused surprise, as Islamist radicals are usually the perpetrators of these kidnappings, demanding a ransom or else killing the victims. Bishop Stephen Mamza of the Yola Diocese in the Adamawa State recently discussed the plight of Nigerian Catholics.
The bandits going to villages and killing people in mass, abducting people, and then looking for ransom. It is also something that is almost common in almost every part of Nigeria. There's nowhere that you will say completely there are no issues of kidnapping. So this is the situation we are in, and this is the situation we find ourselves.
And in Cuba, the country has released more than 500 prisoners after a Vatican-brokered deal. The vice president of Cuba's top court confirmed Monday all the prisoners had been processed and freed. They were arrested in 2021 after anti-government protests. Their release comes after the Vatican mediated an agreement between the U.S. and Cuba to take Cuba off the terrorism blacklist in exchange for the prisoners, a deal struck with President Biden. President Trump has since reversed the deal, putting the communist country back on the terrorist blacklist and imposing sanctions. That is this week's Catholic News Roundup. Please visit stellamaris.media and subscribe for the latest news and updates. Please help me to grow this channel by liking and sharing this content. Thank you so much for watching. May God bless your week. I'm Christine Niles.